Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and in today's video we are welcoming back one of my best friends and a favourite here at Kanga TV. Pommy is back for a little bit of a yarn, a little bit of a preview ahead of all things North Melbourne and Carlton round 15 at the MCG this Saturday afternoon. There is no greater joy of mine than to be able to host some of my favourite people here on the channel, and I know so many of you love Pommy. Who wouldn't love Pommy? Just a quick one ahead of today's video. We do talk about a couple of players who are under injury clouds. Since we did film this video, it was filmed on Tuesday afternoon. Harry Mackay is a confirmed out for Saturday afternoon. He will be sidelined for about a month, whereas Charlie Comben is a potential test to return ahead of schedule to take on Carlton on Saturday afternoon. So just wanted to clarify those things. The news broke about both of those players shortly after we wrapped up filming. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the chat nonetheless. I know I did. Let's jump straight into it. Here he is, my best friend Pommy, back on Kanga TV. How are you, my dear friend?
I'm good, bouncing. Pardon the pun to be here. Looking forward to this one. Our two teams restore rivalries again this season.
So it's been 60 odd days between meetings, which just feels like a criminally short amount of time. I personally am not over the PTSD of Good Friday. You're probably still riding the highs. It's one of the few highs you've had as a Carlton fan this season. Overall, feeling between that game and now, where are you sitting? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I've had relationships shorter than the last time we played, so it's weird. Would be like top five POM relationships already. This, but yeah, I mean, obviously last time we played, the season was. We were hoping it was a blip, the start of the year. I think that's what we're all hoping. It was just like the Blues trying to work out, are they a football team? What are they? Obviously, since then it has been really up and down, hasn't it? We have been more up and down than a Bonnie Blue headline the last 6 to 8 weeks. Um, Big game though for us because I mean, honestly, your team can't find a win, seems to not be able to get over the line, and my Blues seem to fall over the line.
Yeah.
So this is a real battle between two teams that evidently can't convincingly win.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were just chatting off air before, and since we last played each other, North has been involved in only one game decided by more than 10 points, which was against Collingwood the week before the bye. All our other games have been decided by 10 points or less. We've been on the losing end of a few. We drew with Brisbane and we've won a couple as well. We've just come back from two games over in WA, our new home away from home. Now heading over to play Carlton at the G for the first time since 2004.
Crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. I was 9. Daniel Wells kicked the winning goal from 55 meters out on the boundary. I was sitting on the ground level, literally 5 rows from where he kicked it. Pandemonium at the G. I think we won the game by 5 points or maybe a goal. Honestly, the game on the weekend could follow a similar trajectory, the way that both our teams are going at the moment.
I really hope not. I'm sick of tight wins, losses, whatever they are. I hope you insert a picture as well of 9-year-old Marnie when you said
I
that.
have to find one somewhere with my little afro.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Quite been quite a change.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? We need to get mum and dad to find that, put it up there for us so we can have a good giggle at that. But no, I mean, obviously, from a blue standpoint, I am happy this is at the G. For some reason, Marvel, my blue boys, aren't the most intuitive at the Marvel. They seem to not quite understand that there is a slight breeze in that height, which no other team seems to understand apart from Carlton. We just keep kicking it right and it blows left and everyone keeps doing the same. Big game, though. I mean, I've watched North. You've kind of infected me. I do watch North with a little bit more intrigue than just putting it on the telly like I usually do. And what's impressed me is what teams have done with my Blues is our stoppage game is starting to become our antichrist. Teams are starting to really focus on Carlton's strength. And you're, in the last 5 weeks, Roos fans, you are the fourth best side statistically in stoppage in the league.
Yeah. And I think last time we played each other, so thinking back to Good Friday, I mean, stoppage and clearance has always been what we've built our game around on this season in particular. We would have this star-studded midfield. But heading into the Good Friday clash, North was in the bottom four in the competition for defense, and Carlton was in the bottom four for offense. And so it was just, I think, a matter of which game plan was going to be stronger. And inevitably, the game was, just Carlton just about dominated from start to finish. Since we last played each other, our defense has absolutely tightened up. I think the opposition's only scored over 100 points once, and that might have been Collingwood when we played them. I don't think a side scored over 100 points since that Good Friday game. On the other hand, though, for Carlton, Harry Mackay, he's out. You may be without Charlie Kerno as well. We're filming this before we've had any confirmation on where he stands. Do you think that is going to play a big part in how this game unfolds on Saturday afternoon?
Yes and no. I'd say yes because obviously Charlie and Harry, we know how good they are when they are on form, and no doubt Clarkson's team talk this week would have revolved around Charlie Kerno, and there'll be a structure and a plan in place. I say no because I think it's very predictable when you play us. You know we're going to bomb it into Charlie. You know we're going to bomb it into Harry. I think everyone in the league knows when one of our players gets the ball, it's a tight game. That ball's going high and long to one of them two giants. So it gives an area of unpredictability. So Carlton are going to have to be innovative through really requirement. And look, you've got no Comden. So I will give this. Toby Pink has turned into Stephen May in the last 3 weeks.
Had a great
But
season.
he's been all right. I watched him last week against Fremantle, and he continues to impress me, does old Toby. I don't know how it works. It does work. So that's going to be intriguing for Carlton because if it is a young man like Harry Lemmy, there is a lot of experience in your back line, and that's usually where these wet behind the ear forwards struggle. That they don't know the dark arts, and Toby Pink does know the dark arts of football.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, our back line, Griffin Logue probably played his best game against Fremantle since before he did his ACL. Like we're talking 3 or 4 seasons now. He was awesome on the weekend. Toby Pink's had an unreal patch the past few weeks. He's, Josh Tracy taking him out, Oscar Allen taking him out, Tom Lynch from Richmond taking him out. So he's been great. It's that third spot. Callan Dawson played against Fremantle. I don't know if he'll be recalled. I wonder if they go for a Will Dawson, a little bit less experience. I wonder if they look for Aiden Core. I don't know where he's at in terms of his calf injury. He didn't make the trip over at all. To WA, I don't think Jackson Archer's ready to come back. He played VFL limited minutes on the weekend. I'm sure they'll do it again at least one more week. So I find that a really interesting kind of decision what we're going to do. And I know a lot of it will probably largely depend on Kerno, but I feel like for us, we really need to back ourselves in because for us, we have been playing well in stoppage, but we've actually been scoring a lot off the back half, which is something we haven't been able to do up until the past few weeks. So I think making sure that defensive mix is right, that's going to be key for North, I think, in this game, regardless of what Carlton's forward line looks like.
It does, yeah. And Carlton are susceptible to back half against transition. We do like dominating inside 50s and then giving you opportunities to score. So obviously my boy Alex Chincotta is going to get a job probably, hopefully this week on one of your exciting marauding halfbacks.
Yeah.
He will be there. That's going to be something that Carlton will look at. But it's going to be an interesting game, this, because I think the tables have turned. Sheasel's in a bit of form. He's done what Kane Corns has asked and go midfield forward, and he's
Yeah.
getting involved in everything. Dylan Stevens is a little mongrel as well. Watching him, he's an awkward
Right, yeah.
customer.
Yeah.
So the Blues have got to go into this game with an element of respect. I don't think we're going to see what we saw 60 odd days ago, where you kind of were overawed and paid too much respect to us. Because I'm sure Clarko is in his team talk saying these guys are gettable. These guys are vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think I probably was a little bit naive going into Good Friday. Carlton had a really shaky start to the year, but then they beat the Eagles in a big win on gather round. It kind of gave you guys a head full of confidence heading into Good Friday. I really thought it was a 50-50 game going into Good Friday. I'd been really impressed with what I had seen, probably in the Melbourne game and a little bit of fight in the first half anyway against Adelaide the week later, that I think that I probably got carried away and carried that too much into the following few weeks where really we weren't actually all that good on reflection. And only, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but only now, post Good Friday, that was obviously the wake up call that we needed. And it's going to be a really interesting watch as a North fan and probably as a Carlton fan as well to see where both of these sides are at from, 10 rounds ago, because it really isn't a long period of time, but I feel like a lot's happened for North, whereas I feel like Carlton have sort of been on this up and down roller coaster, seesawing almost affair basically since Good Friday.
Yeah, we're waiting to turn the corner. We just can't work out where the corner is. That's the problem. Like we're going down the street. It's just we're not too sure which left to take. It's going to be a fascinating battle because I feel like I'm not like a normal Carlton fan. And a lot of normal Carlton fans went into the Eagles game and were like, Pascal's 80, 100-point win.
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers. The ladder doesn't lie. We are outside of the eight for a reason. We are simply not good enough at this stage. We're 10th for a reason. So Operation One is put you guys away. And I know what's going to happen. There's going to be a passive sense of pressure because people are going to look at the 80-point win and go, that's what we did then. So we've done it once. It's only 4 or 5 weeks ago. 8 is the score. But the way I'm looking at it here is Carlton have got to go in here with the senior side. We are the daddies of this side. We've got to go in there and we know you're going to come at us because 4 points is huge for you guys. This is a winnable fixture. You did it against Fremantle, who are 2 wins ahead of us. You made them work. So we've got to go in there and control the narrative. And that is probably our biggest weakness at the minute. We can, no doubt there'll be a passage of play where we kick 6 goals straight. It's how we respond after that when you guys get your tail between your legs and say we've got to fight back. So I'm really hoping the Blues come out this week and control it. Control it. Don't be scared. It's North Melbourne. Don't give them a sniff because the longer you guys have a sniff, the longer you get better. You do get like Fremantle. They didn't put you away. You started to believe and then Fremantle started to doubt.
Yeah. I think mental is definitely a big thing for North. I think we are, and the only way we're ever going to be able to actually start getting 4 points on the paper is if we start mentally believing in ourselves and getting a little bit of confidence. And I know that a lot of North fans weren't happy. They felt like the win against West Coast was maybe a little bit empty. But I would argue that the win against West Coast would have instilled belief in the group to go on and give Fremantle everything they had. And I think a lot of North fans felt like the Fremantle loss was so different to all the other losses we've had this season because it just felt like the only reason we didn't win is because we simply weren't good enough. And we gave it everything we had. It wasn't our own fault that we lost the game. It was just the fact that we were overrun in the end by a better side. And I'd argue that Fremantle are probably better than their ladder positions suggest as well. They've built really nicely over the past month or so. So I think going into this game for us, we just can't be scared by the fact that we actually are knee deep in this game because it seems like when any expectation is put on us, we seem to struggle and we don't seem to be able to step up to the plate when the situation demands of us. And I think if there was ever a time for us to really make a statement and for us to kind of announce ourselves as we actually are here and we are able to improve and brighter days are coming, we don't really have a choice but to win this game, especially if Carlton are vulnerable without Mackay and without Kerner and also without Sam Walsh, who I know Carlton has a really well disciplined, well structured midfield, and Patrick Cripps loves playing against North, and George Hewitt's having an All Australian season, and Chera and these guys, like there are so many talented names on that list, but we've got to look at our own backyard as well, and we've got as much talent at every section of the ground as the Blues do. And I think for us, it's going to be about backing ourselves in, backing our system, backing our personnel to just go out there and get the job done and not let anything get in our way.
I think with North having no first round pick this year as well, I don't think no one talks about this narrative, but it would scream to me that Rawlins is in the window to bring in established players now. He's hit the draft hard over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You've got glaring issues down the back. You do need a proper backman to help complement them guys.
Yeah.
Maybe a forward. You've got loads of midfielders that are playing all over the place.
Of course.
You look at the ladder, you guys, people are talking about St Kilda. I look at North Melbourne, that the more wins North get, the more attractive it is to come. It's always hard to sell a pipe dream. You know, you think Rawlins right now, if he's on the phone to some of these players, what's he selling? We wear blue and white. We've got a decent Kanga chant.
Yeah.
And the player's going to be like, what are you going to do? Like, where are you going to go? The more you get the wins, the more a young 25, like Aliki Leah, looks at this and goes, okay, I could be the difference. If they finish 15th, 14th,
yeah,
I back myself to get them to 10th.
Yeah.
And then you bring in another player and he's like, well, Leak's here. I can get them to 8. So, like, I think this is a very important time for North. There's no picks in play for you guys. Every win, Melbourne look like they're imploding. St Kilda mid-ball. And Essendon have got no players. There is a real chance here that you can catch a couple of these sides, put yourself in that market and say, look, this is the place. If you want to come to Victoria, come down to Arden Street. We're ready.
Well, I think for us, we are already now 3.5 wins at, the end of round 14. That's already ahead of where we were at the end of last season. But for my mind, and it's something we speak about on the channel all the time, is tangible proof of improvement. And we walked away at the end of last season identifying 3 games that we lost that we should have won. We've spoken about them to death. So for me, if we can't win another 2 or 3 games this season, then it's almost a bit of a failure, because we brought in additional experience into this side to be able to be the difference in games like this. And so far, they have been in some instances, but so many instances, we've also, like I said, we've had multiple games, in the last 6 to 7 weeks where we probably should have won them. So I think the time for us is really now. And I don't think, like I said, nothing can really scare us. I feel like this is a really good test of where we're at. And for Carlton, it's a side we haven't beaten for quite some time now. So I think it'd be a really great booster for us, especially at the MCG. We don't really play at the MCG. 3 games this season is a lot for North. We're already 1 down. We've won our game against Richmond there. So if we could do it again against Carlton, I think that would be pretty awesome from our perspective. But from a Carlton perspective, going into this game, assuming you're going to tip the Blues, obviously, what would Carlton have to do on Saturday afternoon for you to be satisfied and say, yep, that's a pass mark against North?
Control it, win it, use your experience, prove that you are where you are and North are where they are. North are a side that is openly rebuilding and trying to make finals. Carlton have played, 2 lots of finals in 2 years. They're meant to be on the up. So we should be going in there at the G, a ground that you guys don't really know exists.
Yeah.
Our home ground, and saying, let's use the spread. Let's punish these guys. Let's show them we're where we are and they are there. And that's what I'm hoping to see. I don't really have a margin in this game because, like I say, we're 10th. Like if I come on this show and say, I demand a 65-point victory, 3 Brownlow votes for Cripps, and 0 goals for Nick Larkey, it's madness, because Carlton are where they are from their own doing. So I'm wanting to go into this game, try and take any hope you've got, Marnie, in the first quarter and keep it locked away. And make North start thinking, it's okay, we've got some easy tasks coming. We've got Melbourne coming. We've got Sydney coming. We've got Geelong. Let's focus on them games. Let's not focus on this.
Yeah. I think both sides probably have a similar expectation heading into it. I think maybe Carlton will be expecting to win. Not you, Pom, but there'd be and fair enough, because North have been so uncompetitive for so long that I think a lot of people would just expect to walk in and walk away with the 4 points. But I feel like things hopefully are starting to change, and sustainable pressure and improvement is here. Not like that Melbourne game we saw in round 2, but hopefully a brand of footy that can match it with just about any side on our day, and hopefully get away with a few wins before the end of the season. Aside from Kerno, who we're filming this on Tuesday, we don't know if he's going to line up on Saturday or not. Are there any other players that are potentially vulnerable, either form-wise or injury-wise, to come out?
Well, I mean, the SEN dropped the bombshell that Cripps has got a calf awareness as well. Not too sure what that means. Don't know if he's woken up and realised he's got a calf. But yeah, there is that anticipation that Cripps isn't quite right, and then there's the stories and the rumours around Cripps's form, and so he's probably one to wait and see. I have no doubt by now the noise and the jungle drums would have been bouncing. Obviously, Hudson O'Keefe was still waiting as of now to get an update on if he escaped any serious damage, if it was just a come off the ground and rest. Obviously, we're still waiting for Mackay as well. He's listed as a test, but the club dropped the day of the game. He might need surgery. So for the Blues, I don't think we'll be making any unforced changes. I think we will do if Charlie Hudson is down. Obviously, Lemmy's done all he can to get into the seniors. Lewis Young is Carlton's break glass in case of emergency as a forward. Yeah. And maybe we might see a bit of a debut from Ben Camporelli at some stage. He's going very well in the VFL as well. But aside from that, I think Carlton will only bring in players. You never know, though, as Jerry likes playing TDK. Mark Pittonet could, Carlton may bring back the two ruck system with no Charlie as well.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like the last two games we've played against Carlton, TDK's actually had the better of Sherry. I thought that he was definitely better on Good Friday, but even in the game we played in the second half of last year, North, that was one of North's better performances in the second half of last year. I think we only lost by about 18, 19 points, but I thought TDK, I thought they'd go with the two ruck option for that game, but they didn't. They opted to just go with TDK, and I thought he actually had the better of Sherry as well. So I'd be interested to see how you guys decide to line up. Potentially, if you are without both Mackay and Kerno, then maybe Pitnet comes in because then TDK can push forward if needed as well. I know that's a potential option too. So it looks like it's one that's going to be a bit of a wait and see. If there's so many big outs for Carlton, I mean, we've been in situations so many times this season where the opposition has had a huge list of big outs and we still haven't been able to get the job done. So hopefully we don't get ahead of ourselves. We just sort of stay grounded. And if that is the case, we can just sort of rise to the occasion, like I said, back in our own system. I too don't think we'll have too many changes. Cam Zerha's the only one I would wait and see. He returned home from Perth with bandages all over him. He was knocked about quite a lot in that game against Fremantle, and that's been just about the only thing that's been able to somewhat stop him this season. He's been unbelievable. And then down back, like I said, it's Callan Dawson is his spot vulnerable. He was pretty ordinary, unfortunately, against Fremantle. It only came in for Comben. So it's whether we bring back a core, whether we go for Jackson Archer. We're tempted. I don't know if he's ready or not. So that's going to be one that we have to wait and see about as well. But for the most part, I would say that we too, hopefully, would go in without any unforced changes. I just don't think there are players in the VFL that are performing really well and putting out some great numbers, but I just don't think that you mess with quote unquote perfection. And I don't really see any flaws, any major flaws in any players' games over the past 2 weeks over in WA, maybe with the exception of Cal Dawson, that would require like an emergency change.
Well, no, I mean, you've found something, haven't you? Over the last 3 weeks, watching North, you've definitely found a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of continuity, which I think is important. You don't really want to tinker too much. And your backline without Condon on paper is one of them dangerous ones as a Carlton fan. I had Deebs on my show the other night and I was talking about, I made that mistake of seeing Joe Hamlin in the forward line and laughing and going, and I was like, and that's the risk you sometimes can make. I'll look at your backline, and this is with all due respect in the world, but with no Condon there, I'll look at it and I'm not exactly panicked, but it works. And that's the problem. So for the Blues, they're going to have to go in there. And you talk about Jerry. I mean, Jerry and TDK always have a very good battle. It's like one wins the hits out, one works around the ground. It'll be interesting what Carlton do there, because I did think last time we played you, Lewis Young as the backup ruck was okay as well. Yeah. Didn't think he embarrassed himself. So that could be probably one of Carlton's major changes. If Charlie doesn't play, you'll see Lewis Young come in to protect that, be the backup for TDK, because we don't like TDK doing it 100% of the time. It's not healthy. And
No.
then maybe there is a debut for Lemmy and probably a good opportunity. You talked about Jackson Archer. Maybe it is a good opportunity to bring in one of your young guys, knowing that they'll match up on a guy who's going to be very nervous playing his first AFL game at the MCG
Yeah.
on Saturday, are
Yeah, I mean that's what the argument. So both Will Dawson and Callan Dawson went over to WA. One of them was going to replace Charlie Comben. It was Cal Dawson who got the call up. But for me, knowing that Griff put in his best performance in probably 2 years over the weekend against Freo and Toby Pink having the season he's having, I think there is a case there to make for Will Dawson to come into this side. He'd be well supported in defence. So I think that is definitely a big wait and see. Pommy, before I let you go, I know you're going to tip Carlton. I know you don't like giving a margin, but please give me something.
I'll be incredibly happy if I see Carlton Blues win by 28.
Okay. 5 goals I can handle. Not really. I still want to win, but
No, and that's good. Like, honestly, I've got to say, Manny, I've watched your content. The way out of this mess isn't woe is me.
no.
Oh no, burn the place down. The way out of this mess is faith, belief, analysis, repeat.
Yeah.
Because North need wins. It's obvious. You just need to get over the line 2, 3 times in a row. Start
100%.
validating what you're doing.
100%. And I think all the building blocks are in place now. If we can't get things done in the next sort of 10 weeks, then, it almost seems like another season wasted. I feel like we need to build on what we are currently working towards to then bolster us once again in 2026. So I'm going to go North. I'm going to say 12 points. I still have PTSD from Good Friday and how confident I was heading into that. So I'm going to keep a semi lid on it. For this one, Pommy. Thank you so much for joining me. Always the best having you back on Kanga TV, and best of luck for Saturday, but not too much luck.
Hey, best of luck to you. And it's always a pleasure. You know what? Good luck to the Kangas for the rest of the year.
Thank you.